Yep. So yeah, again, just keep an eye on that video once it goes live. Right. I think we are live. Right. I think we are live here, folks. So bear with me in the chat if you're just joining us. Right. Yes, we are live. So if you're a regular here, you'll know what we're doing, but we're going to get into it. But if you guys can get your questions coming in for Fonzie, he's a current F-18 Hornet pilot and display pilot. And if you haven't seen our interview, which we did in November, it was out in December, go and check that out. But Fonzie, yeah, what's been happening since our last chat?
Well, since last chat, I was flying the Hornet as an instructor and in the regular squadron daily business. And as well, I'm preparing the season, which is coming pretty soon. And yeah, that's more or less about it. Daily business, flying, office.
Yeah, and obviously you're sitting in your flight suit at the moment. Are you on queue at the moment?
Yes, exactly. I'm seeking in the QRA, so I hope that we won't get scrambled during this time with you, but it should be okay, I guess.
Good stuff, yeah. So, if you're just joining us, get your questions coming in, folks, in the comments. But yeah, how was your Christmas as well? Like, was that a good one for you?
Yeah, well, a Swiss Christmas, not a lot of snow, but we had a fun time. We went skiing. The Swiss business, Swiss life, mountains, that's cool.
Yeah, and I was actually watching. I don't know if I mentioned it in the original interview, just why the questions coming here. But I watched. It was sort of like a day in the life of you, which was really interesting. Like, how did that come about?
You mean on YouTube, the video?
Yeah, on
That's
the
what you mean?
YouTube. Yeah.
It's actually a film from Sphere. Sphere is the program in Switzerland to recruit the future pilot generation, and it was to motivate the young people to do this job. And we did this video where the Sphere crew came with me to see the daily business, and then also on the air show, so to follow me and see how it is the life as a fighter pilot in Switzerland.
And what aircraft are the Swiss getting? Are they going for the F-35? I can't remember what you're going for.
Yes, we are buying the F-35. If everything goes as planned, we should receive the first one in 27. And we had a big evaluation. We evaluate all the newest Western aircraft, like the Rafale, Eurofighter, the Super Hornet, and the F-35, and the F-35 won the race. So we are happy to receive it. Maybe we'll work a little bit more with the UK in the future. We'll see.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. And will you get posted to that aircraft after your Hornet time?
I don't know yet. We don't have the final plan, so I guess they will need about every generation on this plane, but maybe not everyone. So I don't know. We'll see in the future. Maybe I will know more next year where the plan's gonna be a bit more concrete.
Brilliant stuff. As you can see, there's a few questions coming in there
Yeah,
for you, Fonzie. So I'm going to let you loose, but I'm going to get on social media and get this out a bit more so we can get some more people in. But if you've just joined us, get your questions coming in for Fonzie and enjoy.
good. Yes, first of all, I have to say it's the first time that I'm doing a live question or answer on YouTube, so we'll see how it goes. But I'm pretty confident that we will make it. So we have a first question from a first fan who is asking about the war in Ukraine, if it led to any changes in Swiss operation. Well, actually, for daily business, not really, because we are anyway training air defense since a long time, so that didn't change a lot. Sorry, that's the airbase speaking. um, but of course, the general plan of how do we work on the base and how we will handle that in the future, and different exercises that are planned are getting a little bit different. I cannot tell a lot about that because obviously it's going in the classified direction. But yes, I think in the future we'll work a bit more on that, and also I hope we'll receive lessons learned from what is happening there, and that we will use that in our daily training to get better. Then the next question. Question about how the Russia is using the MiG-31 with the long-range missile. An assessment from me. I'm very sorry, but I have no real information about that, so I can't really answer this question. Then the other question for Forest Fan, our Swiss Hornet high usage hours. I'm not quite sure I understand the question. You mean how much we use the Hornet? Well, the Hornet that's our main aircraft. That's the only one we are using now in the daily business and for the air defense. We still have some F5 that we are using as a aggressor platform, as a radar. But the Hornet is the main aircraft that we have. So obviously we are using it pretty much. We are trying there is a flight hour management which we are using that to be sure that we are keeping enough hour to keep the aircraft until the F-35 is fully operational. But yes, they are pretty used. Then interesting question from DCS fan, which is that's the Templar 7832, who said he is flying the F-18C in DCS and he's building his own display, and he's asking how do I approach that for the real aircraft. So that's actually, to do this alone, it's pretty hard. It would have been pretty hard for me. I have the chance to have the Vincent. He was the former display pilot who teach me that. So basically, for the first year in the display, I take the same program as he had, and he's teaching me how to fly that. Because flying display is not like flying on the regular training basis. You're much lower. You don't have a lot of margin, and you can't do mistakes. Otherwise, it's really dangerous. So you have to get something very precise to fly. You need to know the numbers, the speed. You have some altitude gates, and that's all. That's a big thing to learn. And also the mentality. How do you have to approach this? You cannot just try things. You have to be 100% sure that everything is going to work. So that's for the first year. Then now, if I want to try, let's say, a new maneuver, how would I approach that? The first thing I will do is first try to think about what I want to do, think about how it's going to look like, and then think about how to fly it safely. Still keeping in mind exactly the safety. That means what should I do if I lose an engine? What should I do if I have a major electrical failure or some kind of thing? When I got that on the paper, the next thing I will do, I will try to fly it in the simulator. Once that's done, I will go and fly it in high altitude with a minimum altitude of 10,000 feet. And if I'm satisfied with the result, then I will go down to 1,500 feet. And if it works fine, then I will go to 500 feet and 300 feet. That's how I do that. Yes. Then the next question from Quentin Devonteray. Hello, Fönsi. Big thank for your availability. You're welcome. It's a pleasure. Do you have an assigned Hornet, or depending on availability, do you regularly change aircraft? No, I don't have an assigned Hornet. That would be nice, but we only have 30 aircraft we are almost, I think, 70 to 80 pilots in Switzerland. So we are changing all the time, and I just take what they give me for the mission or for the air show. Next question from Exxon. How long will you be able to fly as a solo display pilot? Is there a time limit, or can you do as long as you want? Well, I would be able to do it for a pretty long time, but there is a rule in the Swiss Air Force. We do it for 3 years. So you are 3 years flying, and then after that 1 year, where you're the coach and you come on the display with the next pilot. You teach him, and then you help him for the whole preparation of the display. So this is my third season and my last one. Next year I will be the coach for the next one, and we'll still be around, but not flying the demo anymore, unfortunately. Then a question from Hamish H. What's your favorite aircraft besides the Hornet? That's a tricky question. Obviously, I really like the Hornet. I think every aircraft is quite unique, and every aircraft has its own challenge and is fun to fly anyway. Of course, I like old timers like the F4 or the Spitfire. They are beautiful aircraft. They're just beautiful. They have a good sound, and they are very nice. Otherwise, from the fighter side, I think I would take the father of the Hornet. I mean the F-14. I'm the Top Gun generation, the old Top Gun 1 generation. So it's kind of a dream to be able to fly that. It would be awesome, but unfortunately, I think it will never happen. Yes, where are we? This is the same question. Then a question from JTFF Marco, who say bonjour from Geneva. Salut Marco, in this case. I assume you have the ability to fight BVR against Mirage 2000-5. Is it not frustrating for them to have the too big fuel tank on during the BVR training? First of all, they don't always come with two fuel tanks. So most of the time they have only one centerline tank as we are flying. And second of all, for BVR flying, they are actually pretty good. They are the Mirage 2000. You just have to look how it looks like. It's a very good aerodynamic aircraft. He has, of course, it has less power than the F-18, but also less drag. So once he has some speed, he flies pretty well, and I don't think it's a big problem for him. So he can fly Block 3, Block 2, high, low. He don't really have problem with that. It's a good platform for that, I think. Then a question from Jason. This is an interesting question. I'm not quite sure I can answer, but I will read it. Any thought about the US view that thrust vector of Russian aircraft is near useless and beyond visual range is more important? Yeah. First of all, I'm not quite sure they are really thinking that way, because if you see the F-22 also have a kind of a thrust vector, and I don't know. I have the feeling that that Russian aircraft are good flying BVR as well. And I know the US, they also train dogfights, so 1v1 close range. So I'm not quite sure this is really the correct way to see the thing. My point of view is that of course BVR is very important if you have, but it depends also on the rule of engagement, because it's cool to have a good aircraft in BVR, to have a good weapon, to be able to shoot from a very long distance. But if you are unable to solve the ROE, then you will get to go to the visual identification, and at this point you will go to the visual arena and start to maneuver. So both are very important, I think. Then the next question. What are the main tasks that you have to do or to plan before departing to an air show? That's a question from Marcello16. Hello, Marcello. This is, well, actually, I'm the solo display, at least in Switzerland, it's kind of a one-man show. So I want to tell you, I have to do everything, of course. The main task, it begins, the year before where I have to do the whole schedule. I plan the whole year where I want to go when, where I'm taking holiday, where I am taking day off, and so on. Then I have to, when I have a display in Switzerland, I have to give the restricted area that I need, because when I'm flying display, I fly always in the restricted area. Then what do I have to do? I have to order all the merchandising, I mean the caps, the patches, and so on that I take with me on the air show. I do the com. I do, well, a lot of things. And then for this display, when I'm going to another country, it starts with sending email to the almost all Air Force to say which aircraft I need to go where do I get the fuel, if I need to do a fuel stop. Then I need to get the flight plan. Then I go to the flight planning to calculate my fuel, to calculate, well, everything I need. Then it's almost like an airline pilot. I go through the briefing with the weather, with the status of the airbase, and everything. Of course, I prepare the place where I'm going. I look at the axis, how it looks like. I look if there are any obstacles. Then I coordinate hotels, car rental for the ground crew, everything I need for the aircraft. If I need external power, a lot of things. But actually, I have a checklist, so I don't have to remind everything. So that's a good thing. Pilot always works with checklist. Then where am I? Sorry, I lost where I was. Yeah. Good question from the Frick Lepony. Are Swiss F-18 pure air-to-air, or can they carry air-to-ground ordnance also? Actually, we are 99% air-to-air. So we train air-to-air, we do mainly air-to-air. The only thing we do in air-to-ground is air-to-ground gunnery. It's to maintain a little know-how, and as well to still to shoot with live ammunition, just to keep this feeling alive. But we can say we are almost exclusively air-to-air platform. Then a question from Bumps Boob. Hi Fönsi, I'm wondering how to become a pilot for the Swiss Air Force. How good has your eyesight to be? Can you still become a pilot when you have to flew when you have a flu allergy, how can you get fit for this job? Good question. How to become a pilot? If you are in Switzerland and you are wanting to do this job, then you most probably want to go to sphere.ch. On this homepage, everything is explained. About the eyesight, I don't know. I know you don't have to be 100% perfect. For example, I'm flying now with glasses. When I started, I didn't have that, but now I have to. But you have some margin that you may use. Then about allergies, I think it's not it should not be a problem. I don't think it's a no-go, but I'm not a doctor, so I'm not 100% sure. But I think I have some colleagues who have allergies as well. And to get fit for this job, um, sorry. Well, you don't have to be I don't know, you don't have to be professional in sport, but it's good to be in a good shape. So I think if you do regularly any kind of sport, a couple of times per week, then you should be good to go. But the most important is to be in to have a good health. If you're healthy, then it's the main part of that. We'll go to the next questions. How many G's do you take at each presentation on average? I'm also a spotter and I go in Payern next year. When you train over the lake, some picture impressive. Thank you very much. I I get to 7.5 Gs at every display, I would say. The F-18, it has automatic G limitation, so when you pull the stick to full deflection, it will get to 7.5 Gs and then it will stabilize there. What happens sometimes is when the aircraft is very light and if you pull a bit fast, then the computer has no time to calculate that, and it can be that you do a small over G. I had about 8G, maybe a little bit more. And then you have to check with the weight of the aircraft and the speed if you are still good to go for the next flight, or if they have to do an inspection. But on the average display, I pull 7.5 Gs at least twice in the display. And for the rest of the maneuver, when you see a lot of angle of attack, I don't have so many Gs, maybe 6 or something like that. But it's the Hornet is not the aircraft with the most G capability. Then there's a question from Hakan Hengman. Question: has the number of acquired aircraft changed from the old and now cancelled order of the Gripen to the current order of the F-35? If yes, approximately how much more will it cost? I don't want to go too much in the detail of the price because it's also not my specialty, but I think if I remember correctly, the Gripen would have costed about 2.2 billion, I think, and now the F-35 is something slightly below 6 billion Swiss franc. That's a kind of a difference, but the situation is not the same. The Gripen was meant to replace the F-5, so we would have bought only a few of them, and the F-35 will replace the old fleet, so we are buying more of them. And of course, the price is also a bit more expensive just because we are later in time. So that's the game. Then a question again from Hakan Engman. Are you, as a pilot in the Swiss Air Force, contracted to serve for a minimum amount of year before doing something else? And how long can you stay if you want for life? Well, we have a minimum time to stay. I don't know exactly how long it is. I think it's 4 years after we received our wings, if I remind correctly, but I'm not sure if it's still the same because it changed a couple of times. And do we stay for life? Yes, we can. We cannot fly until the end, of course, the fighter, but we can do a career in the Air Force and stay for life. For me, I don't know. We'll see. I'm still too young to think about that. For the moment, I want to fly. Then a question from Exxon. What do you think about the F-35? Do you think it's a good switch from the F-18 to the F-35 for the Swiss Air Force? This is a polemic question in Switzerland, let's say. No. F-35, of course, I never flew with this aircraft, so it's always really hard to judge an aircraft if you didn't flew with it, because you don't know how it works in details, and a lot of things on this aircraft and like on any other aircrafts are classified, so you don't get access to this information until you fly it. But from what I saw, from what we received in the presentation, it's a very, very capable aircraft, good aircraft. It's the only aircraft of the fifth generation that you can buy right now in the western part of the world, and I think it's really capable. I had the opportunity to fly against and with them in England and on several exercises, and I was actually pretty impressed about how they perform. It's like a new dimension, I have the feeling. So they see things that with the Hornet you have no chance to see. They work with a much newer informatic. The aircraft can talk together if you want, and I think it will be a revolution for us to receive this aircraft. Maybe even a bigger revolution than from the F5 to the Hornet, as we did in the past in Switzerland. Yes. Then the transition from F-18 to the F-35. For the pilot, yes, you have to learn the new aircraft, but it's like any other aircraft. The biggest change will be for the whole system, that the Swiss Air Force system, will have to adapt to the F-35, the whole infrastructure, the communication, everything. This is going to be a big challenge, but I think it's the only way to go in the future. You have to do this step with any kind of aircraft you take from the new generation. Then another good and funny question from Hakan Hengman. What is your working language in regard to normal talk and orders in the Swiss Air Force? So of course in Switzerland we have 4 actually official languages. We have French, German. The most part of Switzerland is German speaking. Well, actually it's a Swiss German. It's a dialect from German, and Italian, and I don't know how you call that in English, Romanche, I think. It's a very small part of Switzerland who talk this way. In the air, we talk English together. We have the same words as the NATO is using. So we use the same code words, everything. On the ground, it depends. In the Swiss Air Force, mainly, it's almost, all the email and all the stuff you receive and read, it's almost everything in Swiss now, in German, let's say in German. And when it's aviation, really aircraft specific, Hornet specific, then it might be in English. But otherwise, it depends with who you are. So if I'm talking to a French-speaking guy, then I will speak French. If I'm with a German guy, Swiss German guy, I will speak Swiss German. And I have some colleague who speaks Italian, so I speak Italian with them. I think it's pretty unique for our Air Force that we have this privilege to have so many cultures, let's say, inside of one Air Force. Then I have a question from Swiss Pilot who is asking, is Nebia around? Yes, he is around, but he cannot come there. He's occupied. I'm sorry for you. He says correction, Schneebi. Yeah, that's right. Nickname changes happened. Then a question from JTFF. Marco, does the Swiss Hornet once in a while go out to an air-to-air range to shoot live, or is it something that you never saw happen during the career? When actually we do it in Switzerland with guns in air to ground, but as well in air to air. We have F5 target, which who are they have how to say that, they have a target behind them where they are pulling a target about 500 meters behind, and we do air to air shooting against them in the mountain on the glacier. And otherwise, to shoot missile like AMRAAM or Sidewinder, then we go sorry on shooting range in another country. It does not happen a lot, but we go, let's say, every 4 years, I would say, every 5 years. It depends. It's that's mainly shooting to test something new. So we go when you have something new to test, but most of the time those are the test pilots doing that. And we had a couple of campaigns where the squadron pilot could shoot as well, but it's not something that we do regularly. Yeah. Then a question from Jason: do you plan on staying in aviation after the military? As I said before, you can do your whole career in the Swiss military. It's a good job actually. We have good conditions. So for the moment, I'm not planning to leave the Air Force, but I don't know what I will do in the future. I'm still open to new things, let's say. Then a question from Templars 7832. Hi again, Fönsi. What program of chaff and flare do you typically set up on the Hornet for combat enemy missile? And it's written if you're allowed to tell us. Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but of course those are the things we can't tell. Everything about electronic warfare and chaff and flare or electronic warfare, that's all secret stuff that we don't share, not even with allies, and our allies do the same with us. We don't talk about this thing, not even at the bar. Then a question from the Fickle Pony. Do you think the Mirage 2000 or the F-16 would have done as good a job in the Swiss Air Force service as the F-18? Well, it's hard to say. We never had those aircraft. In the past, we chose the Hornet, and I think the experience showed us that it worked pretty well for us. So I think the Hornet was the right choice at that point. I don't know how it would be if we had one of those jets. Then what do we have? Yes, Bombs ask. I heard the Patrouille Suisse is in danger of existing. I hear that the F-18 isn't suited for this kind of maneuver, and the F-5 are getting too old. What will be the new jet for them? That's a big open item. We don't know yet. I think we don't have any decision for now. For the moment, the F-5 is still flying. He will continue to fly at least a couple of years, I think. The F-18 would be suitable for the Patrices. I mean, from the characteristics of the aircraft, it would work. The F-18 can do the same thing, but the problem is we don't have enough, and we cannot use 6 aircraft to do air show, 6 F-18 to do air show, because we need them for the rest of the mission. That's the big point. For the future, what are they gonna get? We don't know. We really don't know. A question from Exxon: will you be trained on the F-35 as well? I think I already answered this question before. I don't know. We will see. I don't know. I have a chance, but it's not sure. Um, a question from Hakan Engman: do you have any exchange positions available to you with other air force, even though you are not a part of a military alliance? Yes, we have. We had in the past. I mean, until I think 2 or 3 years ago, we always had one Swiss pilot in the USA on the Hornet, flying the Hornet there, and we had an American pilot in Switzerland. Now this exchange program has stopped because the US Navy doesn't operate the Hornet C anymore. They only have Super Hornet left. And we also had one program in France on Mirage 2000. We had, I think, 4 or 5 Swiss pilots flying the Mirage 2000 in Dijon and Luxeuil. And before that, I think as well the Mirage F1. And we had as well a couple of pilots flying the Gripen back in Sweden. And for the moment, we only have one program running. That's the exchange with France on the PC-21 in the pilot school, where we have our guys in France there helping with our knowledge of the aircraft. Then Hakan Elman again, do you still have any conscript in the Swiss Air Force, or is it more or less a totally professional force now? Well, it depends from the pilot's perspective. All the Hornet pilots, they are professional. We don't have any reservist or militia. We call them militia in Switzerland. So people who are doing another job in their life and come only to fly. We don't have that on the Hornet. We have that still on the F5, but there are not a lot remaining because they are all the pilots who were militia. They are getting a bit old and they are stopping flying. Otherwise, for the rest of the soldier and the people in the army, we have a militia army. So that means the people have another job in the civilian world, and they come in the army for an initial training, which is about 4 months, a bit longer if you want to be an officer or more. And then they come once per year, 3 to 4 weeks to train. And that's the main part of the Swiss military and also the Air Force. Then a question from Carlos666. Do you always use afterburner for takeoff? No, we don't. Actually, for safety, it would be better to take off always with the afterburner because you have a shorter ground roll and we are faster airborne. You climb as well faster, so you are faster away from the ground, which is safer. But we don't do that in Switzerland because we have some issue with the noise, actually, like in a lot of other countries. So we try to reduce the noise as much as possible for the people living around the airbase. So we mainly in Payerne, we mainly start with military power, except if it's really warm or if we are very, very heavy with configuration with a lot of fuel or something like that. And in Maringen, in the other airbase in the Alps, there the runway is shorter, so there they are starting every day with afterburner. Then a question from Jason: do you use civilian tools, example like for flights? Well, it depends. In flight, no, we don't have any tablets or anything civilian. We are not allowed to use that. For flight planning, we have mission planning, which works actually pretty good. This is a military one, but when I'm planning for a display, it can be that I use some civilian tool, mainly open source on the internet, just to get the work done faster without having to move from my office to do the initial planning. I use that, yes. A question from Desert Jean: with the acquisition and introduction of the F-35 in the Swiss Air Force, do you think the F-18 solo display will immediately switch to the new aircraft? This is again a question I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know how long the F-18 will fly display, and I don't know. I don't even know if there is gonna be an F-45 display in the future. I can imagine that a lot of countries in Europe are buying the F-35, so maybe there will be a common display for the whole Europe. I don't know. That's a possibility, or maybe Switzerland will continue. I don't know. I don't know if you have plan. I can't answer. I'm sorry. And question from Chris 213: have you attended red flag exercise held in Alaska and Nevada? Unfortunately not. That would be a dream to go there and see this huge exercise, to see how Swiss is doing there. But no, we didn't. We go on pretty good exercise in Europe. We went. Actually, we are going this year to ACE, held between I think it's Sweden, Finland, in the north of Europe, with a lot of countries. We went in the past to TDP, Tactical Leadership Program, in Albacete in Spain. We do every year the NATO Tiger Meet. We went in Ocean Heat last year in France with the French Navy. So we do as much exercise as we can, with as big exercise as we can with other nations, but mainly in Europe. Then a question from Boomsboob. How often do you actually fly, and how much of the time is office or administration job? There again, it depends. Actually, we have weeks planning, let's say. So there are weeks where I am flying, and the goal would be that I fly once a day, sometimes twice a day. But then it's really dependent of the fleet availability, the kind of mission we're flying, the people available. So let's say I fly between 3 and 6, when in a good week, maybe 7 times in a week. And otherwise, we have weeks where we have office job, like well, it's not only office job, but other job. Let's say not flying job. For example, I am instructor. I'm sea survival instructor, so I teach the pilots how to survive if you have an ejection and you come with a parachute in the lake or in the ocean. Then we have weeks where we are instructor in the simulator, or instructor on the PC-7 in Locarno, or a week where we are doing the planning for the other guys flying, and of course QRA weeks. So it changed a lot, but we should fly when everything works as planned, around 120 hours a year.
Hi Fonzie, I'm just going to jump in there. Your video's gone, so I'm not sure what's happened there.
Sorry. Do you still hear me?
I can still hear you. No, we can't see you, that's all.
Okay. Well, for me, it's working all fine. I don't know what I can do. I will try to play again. Oh. How can I manage that? I'm going back on Skype. Let's say. Yeah. Is it better now?
There we go, Fonzie. Got ya.
Okay, good. I don't know what happened.
No problem.
Good. Very good. Wait, I need to reset everything. So, yeah, well, that's gonna be good. Well, where have we been? Question from Shin. Is the Swiss Air Force available at night and at the weekend now after the incident with the hijacked Ethiopian Airlines? Yes, and the proof is that I'm just sitting right now at the QRA. So we have a QRA 24/7 all over the year with 2 aircrafts ready to scramble at any time. So that's a good thing. But actually, before that, we didn't have that. It was not because of the Air Force not willing to do that. The Air Force wanted to do that. It was a question that politics, they didn't want to pay for that at the moment. But now we have the QRA, so that's a good thing. Then a question from Marcello. What was your first function when you first served in the army after the recruitment? I also want to be a pilot, but I don't exactly know what would be the best way to follow. Do you have some advice? Actually, it's not really important what you do before the selection. So you can go anywhere in the military. You have to go through the officer school to be an officer. That's the only important thing. For my part, um, I was on the aviation side, so I was officer in the Air Force. I was taking care of the helicopter Super Puma. That's what I learned at first, but it's not that important. If you want to go with a gun in the mud, then do so. It's fine as well. You can do anything you'd like. Before the selection, it's not really important. Then a question from Salaman Manjaro. Are Swiss Hornet equipped with civilian transponders? Yes, we have that, but of course, we don't use it for when we are training tactically because we don't want anyone to be able to see our tactics. But we have that, and when we fly on the civilian way, we can use it if we are asked to. Another question? What was the fastest you ever flew? Do you got over Mach 1 in training? Yes, we go over Mach 1 in training. In Switzerland, not a lot because it's small, first of all, and then we have some restriction for in winter when we have a lot of snow. Then if we go supersonic, we have a risk. I know it's gonna be funny for you guys looking from England, and I think the camera is gone again. Let's see. Yes. Yeah, yes, I'm good. We have some restriction about supersonic when you have a lot of snow because of the avalanche. You know, with the supersonic bang, it can provoke avalanche. So we are avoiding it in the winter, and we also have altitude restriction because Switzerland is really crowded, and we don't want to do too much noise. Then about my max speed, I don't know. I think would have been Mach 1.7, maybe something like that. Not so fast as a Mirage 2000, unfortunately, but still fast enough. Sorry, I need to see where I was. Here. What do you think about the Hornet against the F-16? Have you flown against the F-16 in a training? Thank you. I never flew against F-16. I flew against Rafale, if you mean dogfight, I did some BVR against F-16, but for BVR, most fourth-gen aircraft are pretty much the same. Obviously, you don't see any big difference at this distance. In dogfight, you see it. I never do dogfight against F-16. I did against Rafale, Eurofighter. What did I do? Hawk, F-5, of course. Yeah, that's about it. And I don't know how it is against F-16. I'm sorry. What did you do before you become a Swiss Air Force pilot? Well, I was in the I was at school. I did the how do you call that? I don't know. It depends on the country. It's the school you go until you are about 18 years old, and then I do my private pilot license because I wanted to fly. Couldn't wait to go through the military, and then I went to the military. So pretty standard way to go. Then, since Switzerland is a quite small country, do you stay at one Air Force base for your whole career, or do you move around between bases like the US Air Force does? Usually, we should stay in the same air base the whole career, but of course, it depends now with the F-35 coming. I don't know how the planes are looking. Maybe they will need more pilots in some other base, but usually you stay. I mean, at least for your squadron time, you stay in the same squadron. We don't really change squadron. And a good question, but I can't answer. How many Swiss Air Force pilots also fly gliders as a hobby? A few, I think. But I could not say how much. I know there are. I have some who are doing that. I have some who did that in the past, but have not really time to do that anymore. But we have some, but I could not say how much, how many. Then Desert Gene, thanks for your insight. I love the solo display with the Hornet. Thank you very much, Desert Gene, and I hope to see it again, be it with the Hornet or Lightning 2. Yeah, it would be nice to do it as well with the Lightning 2. Thank you. Have you ever played DCS or use simulator at home? If so, what do you like? It was a question from Jason. I played DCS once with a colleague who has one, but it was just a few minutes, so I have not really experienced, and I didn't really have time to learn how it works, so I cannot really say something about that. What I did in the past, I flew a lot of Microsoft Flight Simulator when I was doing my commercial license, so the ATPL and the CPL. There I used a lot Flight Simulator just to train all the IFR civilian procedure. For that, I think it's a really good tool. And about DCS, I can't really say. I'm sorry. Then a question from Quentin Devante. Are you participating in Tiger Meet this year or last year? No, I don't go to Tiger Meet. The Tiger Squadron in Switzerland, that's the Squadron 11 based in Maringen, and I'm the Squadron 17 from Payerne. Sorry. So no, I never went to Tiger Meet, but it would be a great experience to go there. Then a question from Akan Hengman: has the Swiss Air Force increased the usage of simulators significantly, for combat mission and other type of activities during the last few years? I think yes. I think we did. In the past, we had only one F-18 simulator. And since, I don't know, for the last 10 years, we had 4. So we have 4 new simulators that we can put together to train big missions. So with the 4 simulator, we are using them more. We can also do more complex mission together. So we are using more of the simulator for all that kind of stuff. And as well with the simulator is sometimes it's even more realistic to do if you really want to simulate a big war, let's say. The simulator is really realistic because you don't have to respect every safety barrier that you have to respect in the daily training. You can fly faster, you can fly lower, and for that the simulator is really good to get this war. I can't say war experience, but to fly like you would do in the war, because in the training we have too much restriction just for safety, which is good because we have to. You cannot fly like you would fly it in the defense in Switzerland defense scenario where you might go very low in the mountains and so. And in the real world you cannot train like that, otherwise it would be too dangerous.
So, Fönsi, do you want to answer maybe one or two more questions, and we'll wrap this brilliant Q&A up?
Yes, of course. Do you want me to answer a specification, or should I pick some?
You pick, Fönsi. I'm happy with that.
I pick. Yeah, good. A question from Jan Kaviezel. Hey, Fönsi, how do Swiss pilots perform in international exercise? What can we learn from them, and what can they learn from us? That's a pretty good question. It's hard to answer that with being 100% honest, because of course we are the Swiss pilots, so I won't say we are bad. No. In fact, I think from what I see when we are going in big exercise, we are lacking sometimes of real combat experience, but we know how to work very precisely, and the other country, they really like it. When we organize an exercise, we make a setup, then we do exactly what we say. We are precise in time, precise in space, and we have a good discipline for that. If you're talking about air defense, then we are pretty good because we do only that. So on this part, we might be even better than some other countries. Yeah. How can we learn from them? The main thing that we can learn is learning to work with a lot of aircraft together, a lot of country together, because if you're alone in Switzerland, then you don't do that. You're never on big theater of operation or at war. So there we learn that. We learn from the experience that other countries are doing at war. For that, we learn a lot. And what other country can learn from us, it's, I think, mainly air defense. There we can teach something. Then, maybe some kind of way how to work, how to teach. I think there we are pretty good with the pilot school. From what I hear from the exchange pilot who came in Switzerland, they took a lot from us, from the way we teach and we structure every course. That's there we are good in Switzerland, I think. Yeah, let's go for the last one. I need to read a couple of one just to be sure to pick a good one. Sorry. I have a lot of thank you message. It's a bit hard to do filter. Another question. I will take the last one who came in. Hakan Engman, do you have road bases in Switzerland like we do in Sweden? Or is that restricted information perhaps? How can I say that? It is restricted, but I can say if you go out on the internet and look at that on YouTube, you will find picture from exercise even movies from exercise in the past where we did that, and it's not impossible that we do again that in the future. That's what I can say. Yeah.
Well, brilliant stuff there. So thank you very much, Fönsi, for coming on the show, and thank you to all that put the questions in the side and joined us. But yeah, Fönsi, I've got one last question before I let you go. Are you going to be flying at Riyadh this year? Is that on the cards?
No, sorry. Unfortunately, you can see I put my my planning already on the Instagram, and I'm not coming at Riyadh this year. I was last year at Riyadh, and we are trying to not go 2 years in a row at the same place. So we are kind of trying to turn a bit in the whole Europe. So this year, no Riyadh, no UK at all. I think actually, but maybe next year with the next pilot, we'll see.
Awesome stuff. As you can see on the corner, I don't know which side it is. Go and check out Fönsi and the Swiss Hornet display team by going to their Instagram, and you can find out where they're going to fly. But yeah, Fönsi, thank you very much for coming on the show. It's been a brilliant Q&A, and to hear it more insight into your career. And also thank you to our viewers who put questions in and joined the chat. So thank you very much, Fönsi, and good luck on Q.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, everyone. It was a pleasure for me to show a bit what we do in Switzerland, and yeah, I hope to see you on some air show this year. Goodbye.
Awesome stuff. Cheers.